CBS News, I'm Kit Borgman. The Soviet Union says enough is enough. A state of emergency is declared and troops are rushed in to stop 3 days of ethnic violence in the Southern Republic of Azerbaijan. Jonathan Sanders in Moscow says at least 37 people have been killed in brutal fighting between Muslim Azerbaijanis and Christian Armenians.
There are incidents that we hear about of people being pulled out of their homes, having gasoline poured on them, and them being set afire. Others where people were pulled out of their homes and simply shot through the head. It's confusing. It's got all the hallmarks of the worst kind of ethnic violence and of a civil war.
There are reports that both sides are fighting with armored vehicles and helicopters stolen from nearby army bases. Tens of thousands of East Germans stormed the headquarters of the secret police in East Berlin, looting offices and hurling furniture from windows before leaving at the request of opposition groups. State television said the raid put democratic reforms in the gravest danger. If your long-distance calls aren't going through, there's a reason. AT&T says it's a problem with the signaling system, which carries important information, like where a call is supposed to go. The phone company's advice?
We would advise people to keep trying, to be patient, because 50% of the calls are going through, so that if you repeatedly try and you're not being successful right away, hang up, wait for a little bit, and then try again.
The trouble created giant headaches earlier in the day. One AT&T spokesman says he hasn't seen a situation affect so many cities in his 20 years with the company. There were parades and rallies and services across the country as Americans honored the late Martin Luther King Jr. His widow and daughter Bernice returned to King's pulpit for an ecumenical service at the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta.
Our God wisely has chosen men and women to serve him in each era. Such a servant of our God was Martin Luther King Jr., whose birth we now commemorate. We are thankful for the life of this 20th century prophet of freedom, who joined the prophets of history in the cry.
Only 4 states refused to celebrate the holiday. Arizona is one of them, and 15,000 supporters of the slain civil rights leader turned out at the state capitol to protest. A Blue Monday for the crew of the shuttle Columbia. It began with a rude awakening, a false alarm set off by a motion sensor. Then a dehumidifier that was leaking last week started leaking again, and the crew spent much of the day sopping up the excess water. NASA says it'll let the astronauts sleep an extra half hour tonight because of all the hard work today. A 5-year-old boy is listed in very critical condition after falling through the ice at a reservoir in Centerville, Virginia. It took rescuers 40 minutes to pull George Sater from under 6 feet of water. He was flown to a nearby hospital where his blood was removed, warmed up, and returned to his body. If he survives, doctors say it will be another 2 days before they know if he suffered any brain damage. At 3 past the hour, this is CBS News. Americans and Canadians may have been aboard a Costa Rican plane that crashed into a mountain just after takeoff from San Jose. All 21 people on board are believed to have died. For the first time in Bloomingdale's history, the New York department store opened 10 minutes late today. The reason employees were listening to the announcement that Bloomingdale's parent, Campo Corporation, was filing for Chapter 11 protection. It's the biggest bankruptcy in retail history, and a move analyst Joe Castle says will have a trickle-down effect.
There'll be many people on the retail end losing their jobs. There'll be many people on the wholesale end losing their jobs. It's going to be catastrophic of what this thing is really going to wind up doing.
The bankruptcy affects 258 department stores, employing 100,000 people across the country. Kit Borgman, CBS News.